Tell me, muse, of the man of many ways, who was driven far journeys after he had sacked Troy's sacred citadel. Many were they whose cities he saw, whose minds he learned of, many the pains he suffered in his spirit on the wide sea, struggling for his own life and the homecoming of his companions. Hello, I'm Anthony Caleshu, professor of poetry at the University of Plymouth, standing here atop the Plymouth Hoe, and those famous lines I just cited mark the beginning of poetry's relationship with the sea. In fact, they mark the beginning of Western literature, Homer's Odyssey. In this short video, I'm going to give the briefest introduction to the city of Plymouth's own poetry of the sea. And there's no better place to do that than here, atop the Plymouth Hoe. Hoe, in 5th century Anglo-Saxon, means high place. And from this vantage, I'm looking out over the Plymouth Sound, the site of the UK's first national marine park, situated between Devon's Jenny Cliffs to the east and Cornwall's Mount Edgecombe to the west. As the National Marine Parks campaign reads, the unique waters of Plymouth Sound have been instrumental in shaping the city and nation's heritage, culture, wealth, and security. To this I'll add its vibrant arts and literatures. I'm standing outside the Naval Citadel, still active 400 years after it was first site of Sir Francis Drake's early fort. Drake is one of Plymouth's most controversial figures. He was knighted by Queen Elizabeth in the 16th century, a sea captain, an explorer, but also a colonizer with early connections to the slave trade, a pirate as the Spanish called him. He inspired one of the most famous poems of the late 19th century by Sir Henry Newbolt, Drake's Drum. Drake he's in his hammock and 1,000 mile away. Captain, art thou sleeping there below? Slung atween the round shot and Nombre Dios Bay, and dreaming all the time of Plymouth Hoe. Yarnder looms the island, yarnder lie the ships, with sailor lads a-dancing, heel in tow, and the shore lights flashing, and the night tide dashing. He sees it all so plainly, as he saw it long ago. We're now looking west on the Plymouth Sound, where the Tamar runs into the countryside and the naval dockyards are situated. In the First World War, poet Leonard Niall Cook takes the persona of a floweret of the heath, clinging to a greensward here, that is, a flower of the grass-covered ground atop the Hoe. It's an eerie quiet Cook conjures, alluding to the resting sound of the cannons that now rest on the Sound's promenade. Obedient to the echoed harbor gun, the homing traffic on the water's breast fold up their tawny wings and take their rest. The pale-eyed stars, already one by one, steal softly forth to look upon the sun, so proudly parting, while from island nest, deep-shadowed cove, torn slope, or purple crest, all things give praise to God in unison. In the Second World War, Plymouth's naval vessels made their way to and from the Sound, and poet Drummond Allison's poem, Written from Plymouth, makes reference to the portentous mist and how a naval destroyer sprints from swoon to swoon. The hawsers of the balloons above the Hoe lead to a kind of unkind smile. Drake's Island scowls through its barracks window at the slow horizon wriggle. I'm standing on the Hoe's promenade, in front of Mountbatten and in front of two guns from the 19th century. Two of Britain's most famous 20th century poets, Charles Causley and Philip Larkin, also wrote seaward-looking poems set in Plymouth. Causley was from Launceston, a Cornish border town to Devon, and his poem Plymouth returns us to the Second World War, and specifically to the sound of the trumpet-like cornet, which was once played by sailors on the Western Front. I heard a strangling cornet in the street, volley its music on the falling air. Blow, cornet, blow, over the lurching channel, where the sleek sea forever draws your comb. A million matelots in the long sea tunnel. Hear your thin rumors, and remember, home. It was not home Philip Larkin was thinking about in his own poem titled Plymouth. In his poem, Larkin makes reference to the objects surrounding him within the room he's staying during a visit. A box of teak, a box of sandalwood, a brass-ringed spyglass in a case, a coin, leaf thin with many polishings, last kingdom of a gold forgotten face. These lie about the room in daily shine when new-built ships set out towards the sun. It's a poem full of portents and self-aware symbolism, leading Larkin to close with a dark vision. The hands that choose them rust upon a stick. Let my hands find such symbols that can be unnoticed in the casual light of day, lying in wait for half a century to split chance lives across that had not dreamed such coasts had echoed or such seabirds screamed. The University of Plymouth is well known for its study of the marine and maritime, and our academics in the arts and humanities are well invested in the watery arts and writing which runs deep in southwest England, bestowing honorary doctorates to writers like Alice Oswald, whose multi-award-winning book-length poem, Dart, chronicles the lives of the people, animals, and fauna that occupy the River Dart, some 10 miles from here. As well as Philip Hoare, whose various books about the sea include his 2018 Rising Tide, Falling Star, in which he writes, "Every swim is a little death, but it is also a reminder that you are alive." We're shooting this video in September 2020. In response to the pandemic, I've been working on an Arts and Humanities Research Council funded project, investigating poetry as a mode of discourse during this time of COVID. Living in the city as I do, not far from this West Hoe, I'm a frequent swimmer of these waters. Since lockdown began, I've been working with the poet Mariko Nagai on a collaborative poem set between the Plymouth Sound and Mariko's Tokyo. I'll close this short film with some of our work in progress, a hybrid piece of poetry and prose about swimming during lockdown. And since the Plymouth Sound is looking pretty nice right now, it's about time I got in the water. I was swimming when the lockdown started and was now thoroughly lost. The lockdown started and I swam in the lost. The sound sounded like bees. The sound leaked into the lockdown sound. Triton lives in the sound, but he has been lost for many years as suns are lost. He is lost. I swam in the sound with a wristwatch illuminating the fauna underwater. The subsonic sound of the leak from the sound illuminated by the wristwatch and submarines. We have fins, we are made of water, we are of water.